Earlier last year, I challenged myself with the task of recreating white space from Omori in 3D. This would have to include a third-person model of Omori and all the white space assets that I'd have to make myself. Pfft, this should be easy. I could totally complete this in like 2 weeks. 8 months. It took me 8 months. The project admittedly ended up taking a little bit longer than expected, mainly because I took so many breaks, either because I just hated it or I had no idea what I was doing. But grab my hand and I'll take you on a journey to show you the story of how one man's optimism was crushed by the weight of reality. To make all the assets, I use Blender. This is a really cool and easy to use 3D software that I fortunately have quite a bit of experience with, though I haven't actually finished any projects with it myself. Just to clarify, I am not an expert in any of this stuff. I'm just a guy with a computer, and this is my possibly really poor workflow. The starting process of any 3D character is generally the same. You start off with the head, and you create blockout shapes and slowly increase the resolution of the character as time goes on. I was a bit worried at the start because the head looked very strange, and he had a jaw that could cut through steel. Not to mention, I accidentally gave him some spherical eyeballs, and he ended up looking like Miss Crawley from Sing. I kept trying to give him spherical eyes because I thought it would look way cooler later on, but eventually I just gave up and gave him flat eyes. When I started working on the body, I for some reason thought I had to make it in a starfish pose, otherwise the bones would overlap and it wouldn't animate properly and I'd get a bunch of weird errors. But when it came to animating him, it just gave him like really massive hips. The hands? Oh, you want to know how I modeled the hands, right? Well, just letting you know, I've got 2 hands and I ain't afraid to get blood on them. Then the hair. This was literally the bane of my existence, but as they say, distance brings fondness, so I reluctantly made the brave and heroic sacrifice of taking 9 weeks off. Look, this is for the best.
But, Pookie...
Please, don't make this harder than it already is. I probably redid the hair like 4 or 5 times just because nothing I did looked right. I was tempted just to rip the hair from someone else's model. There was the option of sculpting it, but I was really hesitant to sculpt the hair because I wouldn't be able to get those sharp hair pieces in there. I tried to implement them using Bezier curves and it kind of just ended up looking wet and oily and gross. I knew I'd just have to sculpt a general shape for now and retopologize it later. What? You don't know what retopology is? For anyone who doesn't know what retopologizing is, it was actually an ancient Roman torturing method invented by Pythagoras for all the lame squares out there. It's essentially about remaking all the polygons to look nice so you can animate it and it won't lag the heck out of your game. My sister came up to me earlier this year and was asking me for help with the retopology, to which I responded, that's easy, right before literally spending 12 hours every day and panicking while I made the worst hack job of polygons known to man. Like, look at this. I literally had to Frankenstein stitch the neck to the body because the polygons didn't line up properly. And then the ear, the part that you can't even really see in the render, ended up having so much detail that I think the computers at NASA would blow up just trying to render it.
Fix it.
What did you say?
Fix it.
Just come a little closer. I can't hear you.
Fix.
Later in the process, I rigged the character up just to see what it looked like, and I realized how ridiculous those legs look. My man took never skip leg day a little bit too literally. So I ripped them out and I replaced them with his noodle legs, which looked much better. It probably took me about a week trying to figure out how to give him a shirt. His old shirt I made for him just kept clipping and it didn't fit well, so I eventually had to retopologize the shirt and extrude the faces from the normals. The model ended up having about 31,000 polygons. For reference, this is what 15,000 polygons from a good artist looks like. In the official polygon metric system, it's about 6 yandere toothbrushes. If you're curious about my texturing, it doesn't exist. Like, I quickly made the skirt just by drawing a few lines over the mesh in Blender, and that was literally it. Next was animating him. This should be super easy. Animators have like the easiest job in the world. They just move bones around. What's so hard about this?
One eternity later.
What? Why are the fingers bending like that? After a well-deserved 5-month break, I came back and animated this little waddle and I gave him an idle animation. I kind of didn't really record much after this because I was questioning if I'd ever even complete this, so here's a super quick recap. I was originally going to put it into Uni, but then I got lazy and remembered that Unreal Engine had a third-person character template. And then I straight up copied this guy's code to add outlines to everything, and I made a few materials so that everything was either solid white or solid black. Made a few white space assets, which is pretty easy, and added in a few animations. Thank you to anyone who took the time to watch this. Also thank you to all the people who left such wonderful comments on my last short. It really does mean a lot to me.